this is Esper, and we're back here doing an art prompt. Doing my once a month art prompt with my friend. And this challenge, this is February's prompt. We're doing pixel art. I had honestly one of the hardest parts of this for me was just choosing what to do. So I decided to kind of make an old school looking like video game characters, what I was thinking. I was looking at different pixel arts, and of course you see Mario and stuff like this, so I was kind of doing something like an old school 64-bit type, or 32-bit, whichever bit it is. I know someone might say something about that, but I just commented. But so that's what I'm doing. But my favorite game of all time is Yokai Watch. So I've done, as if you've watched my art, speed arts, you can often see me doing Yokai Watch. I've done lots of characters. I plan to do more in the future for sure. But I decided to go classic Jibanyan with this because I've done versions of Jibanyan, some of the different neon cats, but not Jibanyan. So I was like, well, if we're gonna do this, you need to go with the mascot, honestly. So I never really wanted to do him just straight drawing because it always felt like this character is sometimes a little overdone, especially with all the neon cats. So I always try to mix it up. But I thought this would be a little different, doing him in a different way, and it'd finally get me to do him. So what I'm doing here is I picked out my grid. I went with kind of a number count grid, like I found. I was referencing a old Mario image. I kind of counted out the squares, old-fashionedly just sat there counting these squares out, doing multiplication, of course. That would be really crazy to count every single square, but kind of got the count and had to figure out how to make a grid line in Krita. The thing is, though, as you can see here, I've selected using the select tool. This grid is just kind of like ruler lines on top of a piece of paper. So if I try to select a square just with like the wand tool, it selects the whole page because it's not actually blocked off. So I did a really quick rough going around figuring out where I wanted the shape. And now I'm going in, after I kind of rough out the squares of where everything's supposed to go, I will take the time and clean up all the squares is what I'll do. So it's all just kind of rough at the moment. Getting his little tails in there. I do kind of wish I'd made it maybe a couple blocks wider because he looks a little skinny, a little squished, but I think that gives it a little bit of its own charm, though, too. It was a little bit of a challenge to make a character still identifiable with such little space. So it was interesting. I have worked with some pixel art stuff before, but not in this way, not digitally. So I found it fun. I also found it fairly relaxing, kind of just zooming in, working on these squares over and over. It was nice. It felt fun. Already got a lot of the line work done, but trying to debate on his face here. I go back and forth on whether he should have teeth or not, or how everything should look in his mouth. So you'll see me here in a bit try fighting with his teeth when I do color. Got these little designs out. Got to pick out my colors that seem right. Got to go in and get all that fine line cleanup because I overlapped a lot in areas, I know, and didn't quite make it to some edges. So a lot of little cleanup, but it was it wasn't really tedious or anything. I found it actually very relaxing. I just like, I had a show playing beside me and was just relaxing to it all. It was nice. I really wouldn't mind doing maybe some more of these, something along the line of a pixel art, but I might try to get a set format. I'd prefer of a grid size to put everything on if I did again. We'll see. I have done, this was my first time doing a Yokai Watch character this way. I have done in like material, I've done a Mario and a Togepi before as the grid and the pixel. So it was fun to actually do it more artwork instead of material, using a different medium. Still doing a lot of the same thing here, just cleaning up edges. That's what a lot of this was just edge work. Gotta make one thing about the pixels, you just gotta really make all those edges so clean. Maybe I'll figure out a better solution to this later. This was my take on how to get this done with what I had to do. To clean up there. Bit of overlap. Getting all that black outline cleaned up, and then I'll go in with, because I'd started the color and then I was like, let's just go in, so I don't have to keep bouncing tools back all over the place in colors. Let's just clean up all the black first, is what I decided. So we don't have to worry about the black anymore. That was having to swap to eraser and colors at first. I'm like, no, let's not do that. Ooh. Overshot that spot. There we go. Just selecting it with the rectangle select tool. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm using the rectangle select tool. And once I have that, and then I'm just painting it all in. For like sections like that, I'm going to the eraser. All nice and sharp. A lot of zooming in for this little tedious work, of course. Oh, tedious. I found it relaxing, not tedious. For all the little detailed work, ended up zooming in a lot. All nice sharp edges. I have this like so sped up, but it feels so kind of on the slow side when it's all the same thing to watch. We'll get to color here pretty quick. Don't worry. We are going to get to color. Just a lot of... And it goes a bit quicker at the color since we're not rough getting it in. Big old chunks. Cleaned up. Oh, like that right. There we go. I believe we're up in his tail at this point, I think. Be thinking close to the end of all the edge work. I am currently working actually on my March prompt as I am editing this video. So it's fun to kind of go back and re-see how I worked on it this one last month. Been about a month since I finished this one. Definitely different technique from the new one, the next one, and the first one. For this one, I didn't really have to do any like sketch work because I was looking at reference images. I was doing a specific character. It wasn't my own design. So the first one was my own design in the style of a cartoon. And then my new one is in my own style as well. But I won't tell you what this one's about. You have to wait till next month. And it will be about a month because I'll have a set of 4 series coming up this week. Well, the next 4 weeks will be a series. And so I will have this next art prompt done and edited for after the set of 4 series. And if anyone has any suggestions on a series I should do, you should let me know. I will go right into it. This next series was suggested to me by Slippery Ninja. It's an anime. I think it's called Demon Slayer. I have to double check. I already have a sheet of images of the characters that we're going to be doing. But I'll have to ask him what the name for those characters actually. So it will be interesting. These are going to be the first set that I personally do not know the series. So hopefully y'all like it. I bet there will be quite a few fans out there. Here. Getting that color in, I like the color I chose for the Jibanyan here. Nice coloring. Nice pink for his nose and his teeth. Gotta be careful not to mess up our black. Gotta get that little notch out of his ear on this one side. Could not forget the notch. Well, a bunch of his face is white. Oh, I'm not sure if I keep this. Nope. I didn't like how big it was. I'm like, no, that's not right. I want to just stay black. It was way too big for that size of face. Maybe if I'd made him a little bigger, I would have done it. But I'm debating. Here's where I'm debating whether or not it's teeth or the back of his mouth. I go in here with all these colors. He's got white on him though, and a blue necklace, and his arms have white, and he's got a stomach band. And all in there. Tail. Oh. There we go. I think I had a little bit of that black highlighted now that I just saw that. I wonder if that little section of his tail might be misproportioned. Dark yellow. There we go. Yeah. It is taller in here. I wish I could have made his tail a little bit bigger to get the actual swirls in his tail, because kind of like you see, trying to think, kind of like in the anime shows, like, Fox Demons and stuff like that, how they've got typically like the swirl of fire or something. It was kind of that animation, that design. But here I am putting white in now since we changed up the background, which I did give him a blue background in the end. Either we got interrupted or we had something happen or was busy with something. Seems like such a small pause, but it is super sped up. So probably I stopped to do something real quick, or I'm like, uh-oh, I filled in the background there. So out of the art prompts, this was the easiest so far. It was mainly because I didn't have to draw in my own design. I was recreating an already made character. That is probably the hardest thing for me, is just figuring out what to do. The hardest part for this was probably figuring out what to do, what character to do, or what design to do. My brain automatically went to character designs. I decided I didn't like that back at the throat color. Saving it. Oh. We've had a few misclicks lately with games as well, getting to backgrounds. Or not, maybe I was checking it out, I can't remember. And there we are. It is our finished image with our background. All right, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed this art prompt. If you have, please like and subscribe. And we will be back next week with a new episode. And we'll be back in 1 month with our next art prompt. And I hope you're enjoying this. And we'll see y'all next time. Bye!